So how would you describe yourself as a child then? Because you said that you were really into hip hop, but like, were you into school or into sports at all?
I wasn't ever really into sports like that. I never was. As a child, I think I was a good kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like my neighborhood, the way I grew up, it made me like find a darker side to myself if I was gonna survive in my neighborhood. You know what I mean? And I knew that from an early age, maybe like 8, 9, 10 years old. I realized that if I don't defend myself, motherfuckers gonna keep trying to like bully me and pick on me. You know, so you gotta understand. In my projects back in the days, like, you know, I was a little kid, white boy with, you know, glasses. I'm an easy target. I stick out like a sore thumb. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I fought, sometimes I ran. You know, kid was bigger than me. I'll take flight. You know, 2 or 3 of them gang up on me. I take flight. But when I start catching them one by one, I'll like hit them with a stick, rock, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you know how that shit is. Growing up in the hood, that's all part of growing pain. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, and my mother raised me very well. You know what I mean? Like, she and my siblings, you know, we were all raised very well. You know, very respectful, with morals, all that good shit. You know what I mean? It's when I stepped out of my house, this is where I turned that switch on.
As soon as you left the porch, basically, you knew like certain ways that you had to move in order to make it.
I wasn't gonna be fucked with no more.
All right. Well, take us through this, right? Because you're in Yonkers in the 90s. You're walking down the street. What are you seeing as a kid? Is it like heavy crime at that time? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my uncle had a crack spot right in front of my house and my building. So, yeah. So when you walk in my building, it's 2 apartments. I lived on the right. My uncle's crack spot was on the left.
So what age would you say that you saw crack for the first time then?
Oh, very early, very early. I remember one time, back in the 80s, crack used to come in these little glass vials with different colored tops.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So one day I was collecting all the little vials. There was so many of them in my neighborhood. Like my neighborhood was flooded with these little crack vials. So one day I was collecting them. I had like 20 of them in my hand. I didn't know what the fuck they were. You know what I mean? So, but they were empty vials. But imagine the residue that's that's attached to some of these vials, the germs, the bacteria that's attached to some of these vials, and they all packed up in my hand like this. But I don't know no better. I just see different colors, red, yellow, blue, green. You know what I'm saying? So as I'm walking up the block with a fucking handful of crack vials, hearing my brother come out the building like, yo, what the fuck is that in your hand? I'm like, look, all these little different bottles and shit. And nigga slap them shit out my hand. They get that shit the fuck out your hands, nigga. Don't ever let me see you touching none of them shit. So I was like, oh, shit. Like, I didn't know no better. You know what I'm saying?
How old are we talking?
Get inside and watch your hands. What was that?
How old are we talking at the time?
I want to say, like, maybe like 6, 7 years old. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
Yeah. So, you know, I would come out my building, the niggas smoking crack right there, right in front of my building. Or right across the street, or, you know what I mean?
Did you know anyone personally that was addicted to crack?
Hell yeah. Like, I knew, like, people, like, it'll be my man's uncle. Like, I see that nigga smoking crack, but I'm so young, I don't even know what the fuck he's doing. Like, and a lot of times in my hood, niggas smoke woolies. Niggas would take, niggas take the weed and put the crack in there with the weed and smoke woolies. So niggas was smoking woolies, smoking crack like that, out of crack pipes. Sometimes I walk into a project building, just going to see my friend. I live on the 2nd floor in this building. My project was super big. You know what I mean? Like 69 buildings. But I used to navigate through all of that shit. So if I would be like 2 blocks down, going into some building to see my friend, I lived on the 2nd floor and the 3rd floor, I'll walk into somebody just smoking crack right there in the hallway. I'll just walk right by them. That shit was normal to us. As crazy as that sounds, it was normal.
Right, because you're seeing something so frequently that it becomes normalized to you, right? It doesn't mean that it's really normal. That doesn't mean that's what you're supposed to be seeing, because I know you're a parent now, So you know what you were experiencing at such a young age, and if you try to put your child in that position, it's a trip, right? It's a trip to be like, damn, I
Yeah,
can't believe that I was going through this at this age, and then my child's at this age. I can't even imagine them doing the
right.
same thing, you know?
But
So
like, my apologies, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Like it's my mom, she was working so many hours that oftentimes we left to fend for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like my sister or my mom would cook before she left the crib and was like, yo, look, listen, I left food in the olla. You know what I mean? So when y'all get home, just serve yourselves and handle your business. My mom worked to 8, 9 o'clock, sometimes 10 o'clock at night. I'm outside in the projects chilling, 6, 7, 8 years old, finding my way. You know what I'm saying?
It was like that. It was like that before, though. A lot more.
You know?
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was the life we lived. You know what I mean? My mom's had to work, single parent. Even though we had my stepfather, that nigga wasn't shit. He didn't give a fuck about what we was doing. You know what I mean? So